sky finally settled after days of gray. Windows still trembling from what blew away. I'm standing in the quiet where the wreckage was born, lighting little lanterns after the storm. There are pieces of us scattered in the yard, some worth remembering, some hit too hard. I don't curse the thunder or who we were before. I just gather what's mine from the floor. I wasn't broken, just shaken. Lanterns after the storm, small but bright. I don't need lightning to feel alive. I needed peace more than warmth, so I'm lighting lanterns after the storm. Notice how the silence feels clean in my chest. How loving you taught me what doesn't rest. Love shouldn't feel like surviving away. Call chaos the price I pay. You didn't ruin the sky, we just couldn't hold it. Oh, lanterns after the storm, guiding my way, not chasing the thunder that led me astray. I gave passion, gave fire, you gave wind and form. Now I'm lighting lanterns after the storm. I've seen how lightning can make shadows glow, but brightness that flickers isn't home. If love needs crashing to feel strong, then maybe calm is where I belong. I'm not afraid of clear skies. Lanterns after the storm, steady and warm. I deserve a love that doesn't default. No more mistaking noise for charm. I'm lighting lanterns after the storm. Some hearts rebuild without a swarm, just quiet lights after the storm. Walked along the shoreline where the tide was low. You traced circles in my palm like you didn't wanna go. The sky was painted silver, the night was open wide. We left our footprints side by side. You said this felt different, I almost believed. The waves don't ask permission before they leave. I watch the water inch closer, slow and unplanned, carrying our footsteps from the sand. I wasn't naive, I was hoping. Footprints in wet sand, never meant to stay. I kept thinking love like this would find a way. I needed something anchored, something that could stand, not just footprints in wet sand. I noticed how I held on to the shape of your hand, like memory could harden what water commands. Love shouldn't feel like a borrowed strand. I shouldn't build a future on shifting sand. You didn't promise forever, we just felt it. Footprints in wet sand, fading with the tide. I kept replaying moments where we felt aligned. I gave heart, gave softness, you gave what you can. Just footprints in wet sand. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong, you hurt me by knowing it wouldn't be long. And love can disappear without demand, and maybe it was always wet sand. I'm not bitter, just aware. Footprints in wet sand taught me what I need, something that survives when waters recede. I deserve a love that holds my hand long after the tide leaves the sand. Some loves are beautiful, but unplanned, just footprints in wet sand. We kept saying it's just weather, just a passing gray. Clouds don't stay forever, they always drift away. But the air felt heavy, week after week, like sunlight forgot how to reach. We'd open up the windows, let silence fill the room, pretend the light was coming soon. But even in the morning, the shadows would appear. We were living under a sky that wouldn't clear. I wasn't impatient, was tired. A sky that wouldn't clear, no matter how we tried. I kept searching for blue behind your eyes. I needed warmth that lingered, not something that disappeared. We were standing under a sky that wouldn't clear. A sky that wouldn't clear. I noticed how I stopped talking about tomorrow, afraid of promising sunshine and borrowed sorrow. Love shouldn't feel like waiting for light. I should embrace myself for every night. You didn't bring the storm, but you didn't chase it away. A sky that wouldn't clear, night into day. I kept hoping patience would push the gray. I gave effort, gave belief. You gave something sincere, but we stayed beneath a sky that wouldn't clear. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by letting the clouds stay long. If love can't fight for brighter air, then maybe it's not strong enough to care. I'm not afraid of rain, just forever gray. Skies to clear. Some storms are brief, some linger near. We were living under a sky that wouldn't clear. Your jacket's on my chair, like you just stepped outside. Sleeves still holding shape of your arms and pride. It smells like late November, like nights we used to share. You're not here anymore, but your jacket's on my chair. I haven't moved it yet, though I know I should. It's easier to see it there than admit what's understood. The house feels rearranged, even though it's bare. All because you're gone, but your jacket's on my chair. I wasn't in denial, just too late. Your jacket on my chair, like you might come back. I keep keep touching the fabric, tracing what we left. I needed something lasting, not something that I wear. Now all that's left of us is your jacket on my chair. I notice how the silence feels different in this room. No keys on the counter, no late night perfume. Love shouldn't linger, only in it. I shouldn't hold on to what isn't there. You didn't slam the door, you faded. Your jacket on my chair, night after night. I kept thinking maybe you'll make it right. I gave heart, gave time, you gave what you could spare. Now all that's left of us is your jacket on my chair. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong, you hurt me by leaving so calm. If love can disappear without despair, then it becomes just something to wear. I'm not holding on to you, just fabric. Your jacket on my chair won't stay there long. I deserve a love that doesn't feel wrong. I won't mistake memory for repair. Your jacket's on my chair, but I'll clear it. Some goodbyes echo in small affairs, like a quiet reminder on the back of a chair. We used to leave the lamp on, let shadows dance on walls. Now one side stays in darkness, no glow at all. You say it's just the evening, nothing to rewrite, but I can feel the difference in half the light. Your laughter still fills spaces, but doesn't reach my skin. We're sitting in the same room, but not really in. I keep adjusting curtains, trying to make it right, but love shouldn't feel like half the light. I wasn't afraid, just aware. The room with half the light feels colder than before. I keep reaching for warmth that doesn't cross the floor. I needed something balanced, not a constant fight. We're living in a room with half the light. I notice how I stopped turning on the rest, afraid the brightness would show the emptiness. Love shouldn't dim to keep things tight. I shouldn't feel alone in half the light. survive without shining bright, then maybe it's already lost its light. I'm not scared of dark, just imbalance. With half the light taught me what I need. I deserve a love that fully sees. No more settling for something slight. I won't stay in a room with half the light. Some hearts fade slowly out of sight when we live too long in half the light. There's a folder on my laptop with drafts you'll never read, paragraphs of honesty about what I still need. I wrote them in the midnight when my guard was thin. All the words I swallowed instead of letting in. I told you I would hurt me in versions I erased. Explain the way I felt but never pressed into your face. I practiced being brave without defense in letters I never sent. I wasn't speechless, I was careful. Letters I never sent still live inside my chest. All the truths I softened to keep the peace at best. I needed space to say them without regret, so I wrote letters I never sent. How I protected you from what was true, like honesty would break what we barely held on to. Love shouldn't feel a simple sentence. I shouldn't feel guilty for my own defenses. You didn't forbid my voice, I just held it back. Letters I never sent, night after night. I kept hoping silence would make it right. I gave patience, gave edits, you gave content, and I kept writing letters I never sent. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong, you hurt me by making expression feel long. If love can't hold what's honest and bent, then it's safer unsent. Protecting letters I never sent taught me what's in mind. My voice deserves daylight, not just of a line. I won't hide my truth to avoid dissent. No more coming through the evening rain. Felt the ground beneath me start to shake again. You stood there with your suitcase, saying give it time, but time was already moving down the line. We talked about forever like it had a seat reserved for both our names at the end of the street. But when it came to choosing, you watched it go. I stayed on the platform alone. I wasn't too late, you were too unsure, like a train that didn't stop. You passed me by, I kept waving hope under a gray sky. I needed someone certain, not someone who forgot. You were a train that didn't stop. I noticed how I kept making room for you, clearing out my schedule for something that wasn't true. Love shouldn't feel like waiting in place. I shouldn't beg for someone to stay. You didn't push me away, you hesitated, like a train that didn't stop. Night into dawn, I kept telling myself you'd come back on. I gave patience, gave faith, you gave almost a lot. You were a train that didn't stop. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by pausing too long. If love can miss the station twice, then maybe it was never mine. I'm not stranded, just wiser, like a train that didn't stop. I let you go. I won't chase headlights in a fading glow. I deserve a love that knows its spot, not a train that doesn't stop. Some journeys pass without a knock. You were a train that didn't stop. There's a cup on the counter, gone bitter and still. Steam disappeared hours ago, but I didn't. I've been sitting with silence, letting thoughts rewind. Cold coffee at night and you on my mind. The clock doesn't rush me, it just ticks in place, like it's keeping secrets about empty space. Your chair still pulled out, like you might sit down, but the only thing waiting is this quiet sound. I'm not reaching just remembering cold coffee at midnight tastes like goodbye. I keep replaying moments as the hours slide. I needed warmth that lingered, not something misaligned. Now it's cold coffee at midnight and clarity in my mind. I notice how I stopped checking my phone, stopped expecting your name to light up alone. Love shouldn't cool without a fight. I shouldn't feel more awake when you're out of sight. You didn't slam the door, you faded slowly. Cold coffee at midnight, not into dawn. I kept telling myself I'll move on. I gave patience, gave presence, you gave delayed insight. Now it's cold coffee at midnight. It didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by staying just not long. If love can cool without being poured, then maybe it was never stored. I'm lonely, just alone. Cold coffee at midnight won't keep me here. I deserve a love that feels sincere. No more waiting for warmth misaligned. Just cold coffee at midnight and peace in my mind. Some nights teach you what daylight can't find, like cold coffee at midnight and the strength to unwind. There's a mirror in the hallway I stopped looking at, not because it was broken, but because I was. I learned to pass it quickly, eyes down, composed, afraid it might show me what I already know. I kept telling friends that we were fine, smiled in photographs, pretended it was mine. But something in my posture felt smaller than before, like loving you meant losing more. I wasn't blind, I was avoiding a mirror I avoided, held a quiet truth I kept turning from the reflection of what I'd become with you. I needed courage to see what I hid, a mirror I avoided. I noticed how I shrank to fit your space, how I called it compromise when it was a race. Love shouldn't cost your I gave patience, gave pieces. You gave what you did, but I avoided the mirror more than I admit. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by letting me fade for too long. If love requires shrinking to feel secure, then maybe it's not love anymore. I'm not afraid of seeing me now. No more hiding behind what I did. I'm no longer the girl who avoided the mirror. Some healing starts with a simple stare at the version of you still standing there. Mirror I avoided, now I face. I deserve a love that keeps my shape. No more hiding behind what I did. I'm no longer the girl who avoided the mirror. I still hear footsteps when the house is still. Light from the street spills across the sill. For a second I forget that you're not here to stay. It's just your shadow in the hallway. The walls remember echoes of laughter late at night. Now they hold the silence a little too tight. I pass by your old picture, turn it halfway, but I still see a shadow in the hallway. I'm not haunted, just adjusting. Your shadow in the hallway follows where I stand. I keep reaching for the outline of your head. I needed something solid, not a memory replay. Now it's just your shadow in the hallway. I notice how the dark feels less like fear, more like space that's finally clear. Love shouldn't linger, only as a shade. I shouldn't build a life on what we made. You didn't slam the door, you faded slow. Your shadow in the hallway, night after night. I kept thinking time would blur the sight. I gave heart, gave presence, you gave what you gave. Now it's just your shadow that quietly waves. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by staying in memory too long. If love can't remain in flesh and bone, then it's only a shadow I'll promise. I'm not afraid of empty space. Your shadow in the hallway won't keep me here. I deserve a love Your shadow in the hallway fades with the day. Morning light kept knocking on our bedroom wall, but we left the curtains closed like nothing at all. We said we liked the dimness, said it felt warm, but shadows grew comfortable in that form. You kept your deeper thoughts tucked behind your eyes. I kept mine folded neatly in polite replies. We lived in half-lit hours, afraid of what was shown, like sunlight might uncover what we'd outgrown. I wasn't afraid of truth, just the change. Curtains that never opened kept us safe and small. I kept waiting for honesty to cross the wall. I needed brightness, even if it broke it, but we hid behind curtains that never opened. I noticed how I called it peace when it was fear, how love and human keeping the real unclear. Love shouldn't hide from what it feels. I shouldn't dim myself to seal the deal. You didn't forbid the light, we just avoided it. Curtains that never open, night into day. I kept hoping courage would find its way. I gave patience, gave quiet. You gave slow devotion. We stayed behind curtains that never open. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by keeping everything drawn. And love can't stand in morning air. Then maybe it was never truly there. I'm not afraid of sunlight now. Curtains that never open won't hold me here. I deserve a love that's bright and clear. No more hiding what's unspoken. I won't live behind curtains unopened. Some rooms feel safe in quiet devotion, but I'm choosing windows wide open. It wasn't what you said, it was what you didn't chase. where your footsteps slowed at the edge of our place. The air felt still behind you, like it knew our fate. I heard it in the distance, the sound of a closing gate. No shouting in the driveway, no tears to negotiate, just a quiet understanding that love can hesitate. You stood there half turned, like maybe you'd wait, but silence settled heavier than the gate. I wasn't begging, I was listening, and the sound of a closing gate echoed in my chest. Not loud, not cruel, just final at its best. I needed something certain, not something second rate, and all I heard was a closing gate. I noticed how I didn't run, didn't call your name, because chasing half a heart would feel the same. Love shouldn't require convincing someone to stay. I shouldn't fear the end of a day. You didn't slam it shut, you let it fall. They saw, but the sound of a closing gate, night into dawn, I kept replaying the moments till the ache was gone. I gave patience, gave devotion, you gave what you gave, but I won't live forever at a closing gate. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong, you hurt me by holding on. Not long, if love can close without a fight, then maybe it's already lost its right. I'm not abandoned, I'm released. It's fine, the sound of a closing gate set me free. I won't stand outside begging to be. I deserve a love that doesn't hesitate, not the quiet echo of a closing gate. Some endings don't roar or devastate, they whisper softly like a closing gate. You said someday so easily, like it was a place we'd go. Spoke of future streets and keys, but never told me where they'd show. I kept packing little dreams in boxes half pressed, holding on to a promise with no address. You draw our names in there on plans that never said. Said timing wasn't right, but never said not yet. I learned to read the spaces where certainty should rest. You handed me a promise with no address. I wasn't impatient, I was waiting. A promise with no address, nowhere to arrive. I kept walking toward a future that didn't with no address. I notice how I defended you, maybe in your pause. Called it careful planning, ignored the flaws. Love shouldn't feel like forwarding mail to somewhere undefined, hoping it won't fail. You didn't lie outright, you postponed a promise with no address. Night into dawn, I kept believing effort would carry us on. I gave faith, gave patience, you gave vague progress. Just a promise, just a promise with no address. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong, you hurt me by stretching later too long. If love can't name where it intends, then maybe it's not meant to begin. I'm not confused anymore. A promise with no address won't keep me near. I deserve a future that's written clear. No more investing in what's guess I won't hold on to. A promise with no address. Someone's feel warm but don't progress, like a folded note with no address. Your name still lives in the search bar on my phone. Autofill remembers you, even when I don't. 3 dots blinking in the message, I collapse. There's a version of me still typing in drafts. I miss you, half written and quickly erased. Can we talk safe, quietly, just in case? I tell myself I'm stronger than late night relapse, but there's always your name in my drafts. I'm not reaching, I'm resisting. Your name in my drafts, where the unsaid stays. I keep folding my feelings in careful ways. I needed closure, not another relapse, but there's still your name in my drafts. I notice how I almost pressed into two when loneliness feels louder than truth. myself. Your name in my drafts. Night after night, I keep choosing silence over one more fight. I gave heart, gave patience. You gave perhaps. Now it's just your name in her truth. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by lingering too long. If love can survive only unsent, then maybe it's better left where it went. I'm not weak, I'm a win. Your name in my drafts won't stay forever. I deserve a love that's sent together. No more midnight autocorrect traps. I'm deleting your name from my draft. Some feelings fade without collapse. They quiet down in forgotten drafts. We used to crash like thunder on a restless shore. Now everything feels level, like we don't move anymore. No highs, no breaking, no sharp edges to save. Just an ocean lying still without waves. We call it peaceful, call it grown, but sometimes calm feels like alone. I miss the pool that made me brave. Now it's just water without waves. Not craving chaos, just feeling an ocean without waves. Feels safe but strange. I keep searching for motion in something unchanged. I need a depth that moves me, not quiet that behaves. Not an ocean without waves. I notice how I stop leaning into you, afraid of finding silence where passion once grew. Love shouldn't flatten into polite space. I shouldn't feel nothing on your face. You didn't cool completely, you leveled out. An ocean without waves, night into day. I kept hoping a current would find its way. I gave heart, gave sea without waves. Your shoes are by the door, like you're coming back tonight. Laces loosely folded, still holding your shape right. I haven't moved them once. The weeks have passed before. There's something about your shoes by the door. I told myself it's easier to leave them where they stand, like love is just out running and will reach for my hand. But silence fills the hallway more than ever before. Still I keep glancing at the shoes by the door. I'm not in denial, just pausing. Shoes by the door, waiting for a sound. I keep holding space for someone not around. I needed certainty, not maybe anymore. But I kept believing in shoes by the door. I noticed how I stopped listening for keys, stopped rehearsing conversations in case you'd see. Love shouldn't feel like suspended air. I shouldn't build hope on what isn't there. You didn't promise return, you just didn't say no. Shoes by the door, night into dawn. I kept thinking distance would pull you on. I gave patience, gave space, you gave unsure. Now it's just silence by the door. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by leaving hope too long. If love can't rest, half in, half out, then maybe it's better without. I'm not waiting, I'm deciding. Shoes by the door won't stay there now. I deserve a love that shows up somehow. No more holding room for what isn't sure. I'm moving the shoes from the door. Some ending sit quietly on the floor, like a pair of shoes by the door. till something shifted without attention. The city sounded distant, like it knew before I did that something quiet had already slid. You were talking about nothing, I was listening within. The night air felt different. I wasn't overthinking, I was sensing. The night air felt different, cold on my skin. I kept searching for warmth where we had been. I needed presence, not just proximity in it, but the night air felt different. I noticed how I slowed down to match your pace, how closeness felt polite instead of safe. Love shouldn't whisper before it ends. I shouldn't feel goodbye in a breeze like this. You didn't let go, but you loosened. The night air felt different, night into dawn. I kept hoping morning would prove me wrong. I gave patience, gave softness, you gave distance within. The night air felt different. You didn't hurt me all wrong. You hurt me by drifting too long. If love can change without a sound, then the heart already knows what it found. I'm not dramatic, just aware. The night air felt different, and so did I. I won't ignore the shift just to deny I deserve a love that stays consistent, not something that fades when the air feels different. Some endings don't speak or announce, they arrive quietly in the way the night sounds. There's a photograph on my dresser, turned quietly around. I didn't tear it up, just laid it face down. The frame is still unbroken, glass without a crack, but I couldn't keep your smile staring back. It used to hold a moment when we both believed in something steady we thought we'd keep. Now it's just a memory I don't let resound, so I leave the photograph face down. I'm not erasing, just protecting a photograph face down on a quiet shelf. I'm not pretending it didn't help. I needed space to breathe without that sound. replaying that day. Stopped asking myself if we could have stayed. Love shouldn't live only in a frame. I shouldn't freeze my heart in yesterday's name. You didn't vanish, we just ended. A photograph face down, I ate into light. I kept thinking maybe I'd said it right. I gave heart, gave truth, you gave what you found. Now it quietly face down. You didn't hurt me loudly or wrong. You hurt me by letting it last too long. If love only shines and captures sound, then maybe it belongs face down. Face down. I'm not ashamed of what we were. Photograph face down won't define me. I deserve a love that can see me. No more living in lost ground. I won't stay turned face down. Face down. Some memories stay without a sound, like a photograph. Turn face down. Face down. I used to call it love when my pulse would raise, confuse anxiety with one in your embrace. If you pulled away, I ran uphill. Now I'm a heart learning to stand still. Silence used to scare me, felt like a sign that something fragile was falling out of line. But quiet doesn't mean I'm about to lose. It's just space I'm getting used to. I'm not bored, I'm breathing. A heart learning to stand still, not chasing sparks that burn. I'm choosing steady ground over sharp turns. I needed peace more than thrill. Now I'm a heart learning to stand still. I notice how I don't check my phone in fear. Don't measure love by who appears. Love shouldn't feel like survival skill. I shouldn't have to prove my will. You didn't call me, I did. A heart learning to stand still. Night and a day I kept thinking calm meant something's wrong. safety doesn't shout or overfill. It's just a heart that stands still. I've known the rushes of unstable ground, but love that's healthy doesn't spin you around. If I mistake chaos for being alive, then I'll keep losing what helps me survive. I'm not less passionate, just steady. A heart learning to stand still, feel strong and clear. I deserve a love that stays near. No more mistaking fear for thrill. I'm a heart that can stand still. Some healing isn't loud or uphill. It's quiet strength, standing still. I didn't pull them close last night, left the window bare, let the air move freely through the quiet air. No fear of what the morning might reveal in front of me. I'm learning how to wake up unapologetically. There was a time I hid from light, afraid of what I'd see. Turn the curtains inward, like darkness comforted me. But healing doesn't happen in rooms we keep tight. So I let the sun find my side. I'm not rushing, I'm ready. Sunrise through open curtains, falling on my face. I don't flinch from warmth or gentle grace. I needed proof that softness could still be certain. Now I wake to sunrise through open curtains. I notice how my heart feels calm and light, not bracing for a shadow or a sudden night. Love shouldn't feel like closing in. I shouldn't hide to let it begin. I didn't find the sun, I uncovered it. Sunrise through open curtains, quiet and clear. No thunder, no drama, just presence here. I gave myself patience to learn and discern. Now I wake to sunrise through curtains I've turned. I've known the comfort of staying close, but safety grows where light is exposed. If love is meant to enter in, and let it meet the light within. I'm not afraid of being seen. Sunrise through open curtains, steady and warm. I deserve a love that doesn't storm. No more hiding or fear. They simply arrive and ask you to stand.